The signal came at 3 in the morning, Earth Standard Time. It cut through the quiet hum of the Galactic Council station like a knife through soft flesh. Ambassador Ho was sleeping in his small quarters when his communication device screamed to life. He sat up fast, his heart already beating hard in his chest. "Ambassador, you need to come to the communication center. Now." The voice belonged to his assistant, a young woman named Bora. She sounded scared. Ho pulled on his uniform and moved through the empty hallways. The Galactic Council station was home to representatives from over 200 species. At this hour, most of them were sleeping or doing whatever their biology required. But Ho could feel something wrong in the air, something terrible. When he reached the communications center, Bora was standing before a massive holographic display. Her face was pale. Other ambassadors were arriving too, their various bodies moving with confusion and fear. The ambassador was there. Her name was, and her delicate blue skin had turned almost white. "Play it again," someone said. The hologram flickered and then a face appeared. It was a male, his large silver eyes wide with terror. Behind him, Ho could see fire and smoke. The sound of explosions filled the speakers. "This is a distress call to all members of the Galactic Council," they said. His voice was shaking badly. "The Dominion has invaded They came without warning. They came with 1,000 warships. Our defenses are falling. Our cities are burning. We beg you. We beg anyone who can hear this. Please help us, please. Our children are dying. Our world is dying. If anyone can hear this, please come. Please save us." The message ended. Silence filled the room like a heavy weight. Ho looked at the faces around him. The ambassador, a massive creature with stone-like skin, looked away. The ambassador, small and covered in soft fur, was crying quietly. The ambassador simply shook his head. "The Dominion has 3 times the military power of any single council species," someone said. "We cannot help them. If we intervene, they will declare war on us all," another voice added. "They are a peaceful people," said her voice breaking. "They have no army. They are scientists and artists and healers. They have never hurt anyone. They do not deserve this." "Deserve has nothing to do with survival," the ambassador said. "The universe is cruel. We all know this." Ho felt something burning in his chest. He had been the human ambassador to the Galactic Council for 7 years. In that time, he had learned how the galaxy worked. The strong took from the weak. The powerful did as they pleased, and everyone else looked away because looking was too painful and acting was too dangerous. But Ho was human, and humans were different. "I need to make a call," he said quietly. The other ambassadors looked at him. Some of them seemed confused, others seemed scared. "Ambassador Ho," they said carefully, "what are you planning to do?" "I am going to contact Earth," Ho said. "I am going to tell them what is happening." The room went very quiet. Everyone knew about humans. Everyone had heard the stories. They came from a world called Earth, a planet so dangerous that most species could not survive there for more than a few hours. Heavy gravity, extreme temperatures, deadly predators, toxic atmosphere. The humans had not just survived on this nightmare world. They had conquered it. The galaxy called them. For centuries, the Galactic Council had kept humans at a distance. They were too dangerous, too unpredictable, too violent. Yes, they had joined the Council. Yes, they had followed the rules. But everyone remembered the stories. Everyone knew what humans were capable of when they were angry. "You cannot be serious," they said. "If you bring humans into this conflict, you will start a galactic war." "They started the war when they attacked Ho said. "I am simply going to finish it." He walked out of the communications center and went to the human section of the station. His private communication room was small, but it had a direct link to Earth. He sat down and entered the codes. The holographic display flickered, and then a face appeared. It was Fleet Admiral. She was in her 50s, with short gray hair and eyes that had seen too much death. She was sitting in her office at Earth Defense Command. Behind her, Ho could see the blue marble of Earth through a window. Ambassador said, her voice was calm but sharp. It is very late. What is happening? Ho told her everything. He showed her the distress call. He explained about the Dominion and their 1,000 warships. He described the burning cities and the dying children. When he finished, Admiral was silent for a long moment. How many are on there? She finally asked. Approximately 8 billion, Ho said. And the Council, what are they doing? Nothing, they are afraid. Admiral nodded slowly. Her jaw was tight. Ho could see the muscles moving under her skin. The Dominion is powerful, she said. If we intervene, they will declare us enemies. We will be at war with the largest military force in the galaxy. I know, Ho said. Many humans will die. I know. Our ships will burn. Our soldiers will fall. Families will lose fathers and mothers and children. I know, Admiral, but 8 billion innocent people are being slaughtered right now. They called for help. They begged for someone to save them, and everyone else is looking away. Ho leaned forward. We are human, Admiral. Looking away is not what we do. Admiral stared at him through the hologram. Then slowly she smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a wolf that had just found its prey. No, she said, it is not. She reached for something off-screen. Ho heard alarms begin to sound somewhere in the background. Ambassador, I want you to send a message to the Galactic Council, Admiral said. Tell them that humanity has received the distress call. Tell them that we are responding. What should I tell them about our response? Ho asked. Admiral's eyes were cold and hard, like stones at the bottom of a frozen river. Tell them that they are coming. Tell them that we are bringing every ship we have. Tell them that the Dominion made a terrible mistake today. They attacked the helpless. They murdered the innocent. And now they are going to learn why the galaxy fears the children of Earth. She cut the connection. Ho sat alone in the dark room, his heart pounding. Through the walls, he could hear the other ambassadors talking in worried voices. They did not understand. They could not understand. But they would learn. Soon, the entire galaxy would learn. Humanity was coming, and they were bringing a fleet of fury. The call went out across Earth in the middle of the night. Every military base, every naval station, every orbital platform received the same message. Code red. Full mobilization. All hands to stations. Fleet Admiral stood in the command center of Earth Defense Command and watched the screens around her come alive. Green lights blinked on as ships reported ready. Red numbers counted down as crews rushed to their posts. The entire planet was waking up, and it was waking up angry. Captain Jinho walked up beside her. He was her second in command, a tall man with a serious face and careful eyes. He had served under for 15 years, through 3 major conflicts and dozens of smaller ones. He knew her better than almost anyone. Admiral, he said quietly, the Council is sending urgent messages. They are demanding to know what we are doing. Let them demand, said. We have work to do. They are threatening to remove our Council membership. They can remove whatever they like. It will not stop us. Jinho was quiet for a moment. Then he asked the question that knew was coming. Admiral, why are we doing this? Turned to look at him. What do you mean? Though we have no treaties with them, we have no agreements, they are not our allies. In fact, I remember that they voted against human expansion just 3 years ago. They called us dangerous. They said we should be contained. Jinho's voice was not angry, just confused. Why are we risking everything to save people who fear us? Looked back at the screens. She watched as more and more ships reported ready. The numbers were impressive. Earth had been building its fleet for generations, preparing for a threat that everyone hoped would never come. Now that threat was here, and humanity was ready. Do you know why the galaxy calls us? Asked. Because of our planet, Jinho said. The gravity, the predators, the diseases. That is part of it, but there is another reason. walked to a window and looked out at the stars. We evolved to survive. Every creature on our world is a fighter. Every plant, every animal, every microbe is locked in an endless war for existence. And we won. We beat them all. We climbed to the top of the food chain on the deadliest planet in the known galaxy. She turned back to Jinho. But survival is not what makes us human. Do you know what makes us human? Jinho shook his head. Compassion, said. We are the only species in the galaxy that will risk everything to save strangers. We are the only ones who will run into burning buildings to rescue people we have never met. We are the only ones who will give our lives for creatures that are not even our own species. She stepped closer to him. They fear us. The whole galaxy fears us, and maybe they are right to be afraid. We are dangerous. We are violent. We can be terrible in ways that other species cannot even imagine, but we can also be something else, something beautiful. We can be protectors. We can be guardians. We can be the ones who answer when the helpless call for help. Jinho was silent. His eyes were wet. They voted against us, continued. They called us monsters, and now their world is burning and everyone else has abandoned them. So what should we do? Should we abandon them too? Should we prove that we are exactly what they said we are? No, Jinho whispered. No, agreed. We should show them what we really are. We should show the entire galaxy what it means to be human. An officer called out from across the room. Admiral, the fleet is assembled and awaiting orders. Walked to the central command platform. Around her, hundreds of officers worked at their stations. Above her, holographic displays showed the largest human fleet ever gathered. Over 3,000 warships, battle cruisers and destroyers and carriers and frigates, each one crewed by humans who had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might not come back. Open a channel to all ships, said. Channel open, Admiral. Took a deep breath. She thought about the distress call she had watched. She thought about the male with terror in his silver eyes. She thought about the burning cities and the dying children. This is Fleet Admiral speaking to all ships and all personnel. You know why we are here. You have all seen the distress call from the 8 billion innocent people are being slaughtered by the Dominion. They called for help and the galaxy turned away. They begged for someone to save them and everyone said no. She paused, but we are not everyone. We are human, and we do not turn away from those who need us. The mission ahead will be dangerous. They have 1,000 warships and they are ruthless fighters. Many of us will not return home, but I want you to remember something. I want you to remember why we fight. We do not fight for territory. We do not fight for resources. We do not fight for power. We fight because there are children on that planet who are scared and alone. We fight because there are families who are losing everything they love. We fight because someone has to stand up for those who cannot stand for themselves. The galaxy calls us. They think that means we are killers. Today, we are going to show them what it really means. It means that we were forged in the fire of the deadliest world in existence. It means that we do not know how to give up. It means that when we make a promise, we keep it, even if it costs us everything. So here is my promise to you and to every species in the galaxy that is watching. Humanity answers those who call. We come for the helpless. We come for the desperate. We come for those whom everyone else has abandoned. She raised her voice. All ships prepare for hyperspace jump. Set coordinates for we are going to war. The command center erupted in activity. Officers shouted orders. Engines powered up. Navigation systems locked onto their target. Across 3,000 ships, hundreds of thousands of humans prepared themselves for battle. Jinho stood beside, watching the countdown to the jump. Admiral, he said, what if we fail? What if we are not strong enough? Looked at him with fierce eyes. Then we will die trying. And the galaxy will know that there was at least one species that cared enough to fight for strangers. The countdown reached 0. The stars stretched into long lines of light, and humanity went to war. Across the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Ho watched the human fleet disappear into hyperspace. The other ambassadors stood around him in stunned silence. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. Nobody could understand why they would risk everything for people who were not even their friends. But Ho understood. He was human too. "May fortune favor them," the ambassador whispered. "Fortune has nothing to do with it," Ho said quietly. "The Dominion woke up something they should have let sleep. Now they are going to learn what happens when you threaten the innocent in front of humanity." The screens showed empty space where the fleet had been. But everyone knew that somewhere, far away, the children of Earth were racing toward a burning world. They were bringing 3,000 warships and hundreds of thousands of soldiers who were ready to die for strangers. The Dominion had no idea what was coming for them. It was called. It had been a beautiful planet once. Blue oceans and green forests and cities that sparkled like jewels under 3 gentle suns. They had spent 10,000 years building their civilization. They had created art and music and science. They had studied the stars and dreamed of peace. Now their world was burning. Warships filled the sky like a swarm of metal insects. They were ugly ships built for destruction, painted in the blood-red colors of the Dominion. 1,000 of them circled the planet, firing down at anything that moved. Cities collapsed. Forests turned to ash. Oceans boiled where energy weapons struck. On the ground, millions ran for their lives. They were a gentle species, tall and thin with silver eyes and blue skin that changed color with their emotions. They had no weapons. They had no soldiers. They had believed that peace was possible, that no one would ever want to hurt them. They had been wrong. Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest, and watched the destruction with satisfaction. His species was born for war. They were massive creatures, 7 feet tall with armored skin and 4 powerful arms. They had conquered dozens of worlds. They had crushed hundreds of species. They were just another meal for the hungry machine of the Dominion. "Commander," one of his officers said, "we are detecting multiple hyperspace signatures at the edge of the system." "Turned how many?" The officer's face went pale. "Thousands, Commander, over 3,000 signatures." Before could respond, space itself seemed to tear open. Points of light appeared everywhere, spreading across the black void like stars being born. And from those points of light, ships emerged. Human ships. Had heard stories about humans. Everyone in the galaxy had heard stories, but stories were just words. Now, for the first time, he was seeing the reality. The human fleet was massive. Battle cruisers the size of small moons, destroyers bristling with weapons, carriers releasing swarms of fighter craft, and at the center of it all, a ship so large it seemed impossible. The flagship of the human navy, the Defiant Hope. "What is this?" demanded. "Why are humans here?" "Commander, we are receiving a transmission." "Put it through." A hologram appeared on the bridge. It showed a human female with gray hair and cold eyes. She was wearing a military uniform covered in metals. She spoke in a calm voice, but there was steel underneath her words. "This is Fleet Admiral of the Earth Defense Force. I am addressing the forces in the system. You are engaged in the unlawful destruction of a peaceful civilization. You have killed millions of innocent people. You have burned their cities and murdered their children." She leaned forward. "I am giving you one chance. Leave this system now, take your ships and go. If you do not, we will destroy you." Laughed. It was a deep, ugly sound. "Human, you are brave but foolish. We have 1,000 warships. You cannot defeat us." "We have 3,000, replied. "And we are, do you know what that means?" "It means you come from a dangerous planet. It does not make you invincible." "No, it means that we were raised in hell. It means that we have been fighting since the moment we were born. It means that we do not know the meaning of surrender." Her eyes burned with cold fire. "You have hurt innocent people, Commander. You have made us angry, and you have no idea what humans are capable of when we are angry." Cut the transmission. He turned to his officers with a snarl. "All ships, battle formation. We will show these what real warriors look like." The fleet moved into position. 1,000 warships spread out, their weapons charging, their shields activating. They were confident. They had never lost a battle. They had never faced an enemy that could match their ferocity. They had never faced humans. The battle began without warning. Human ships surged forward, their engines blazing with white fire. Weapons opened up across the entire line. The void between the fleets filled with streaks of light as thousands of projectiles and energy beams crossed the distance. The first ships exploded within seconds. Their shields, designed to withstand attacks from any known species, failed under the overwhelming firepower of the human fleet. One ship after another burst into flames and scattered into debris. But they were not cowards. They fought back with everything they had. Their weapons struck human ships, tearing holes in armor and killing crews. Several human destroyers went dark, their lights fading as they drifted lifeless through space. Commander Bin led the fighter squadrons. She was young, only 30 years old, but she had been training for battle since she was a child. Her fighter craft danced through the chaos, dodging enemy fire and launching missiles at ships. Around her, other human pilots did the same, their voices filling her helmet as they called out targets and warnings. "Squadron 7, break left, incoming fire." "I've got a lock on their carrier, missiles away." "Watch your 6, Bin, 2 fighters on your tail." Bin pulled hard on her controls, sending her ship into a spiral that would have killed a pilot from any other species. Human bodies were tough. Human reflexes were fast. She came out of the spin and fired, watching her shots tear through the hull of an enemy fighter. On the bridge of the Defiant Hope, Admiral commanded the battle with calm precision. She watched the holographic display that showed the entire fight. Blue dots for human ships, red dots for. Both sides were taking losses, but the humans were winning. Slowly, steadily, they were pushing the back. "Admiral," Jinho called out, "the flagship is trying to escape. Should we pursue?" Watched the Eternal Conquest turn away from the battle, its engines powering up for a hyperspace jump. Commander was running. He had finally understood what he was facing. "Let him go," said. "He will carry the message back to the Dominion. He will tell them what happened here. He will tell them what happens when you attack the innocent in front of humanity." "What about the remaining ships?" "Give them one more chance to surrender. If they refuse, destroy them." The message went out. Some ships dropped their shields and powered down their weapons. Others tried to fight. They did not last long. Within hours, the battle was over. The fleet was broken. Over 600 of their ships were destroyed, and another 200 had surrendered. The rest had fled into hyperspace, carrying stories of the terrible who had come to save the. Admiral looked down at the planet below. It was still burning in places, but the bombardment had stopped. The survivors were safe now. "All ships," she said, "begin rescue operations. Send every medical team, every supply ship, every person we can spare to the surface. These people have suffered enough." The human fleet spread out around. Shuttles descended through the atmosphere, carrying doctors and food and hope. On the ground, survivors watched in disbelief as they came not to conquer, but to help. Commander Bin landed her fighter at a ruined spaceport. She climbed out and looked around at the destruction. A group of children stood nearby, their silver eyes wide with fear. They had probably never seen a human before. They had probably heard that humans were monsters. Bin knelt down and held out her hand. "It is okay," she said softly. "You are safe now. We are here to help." One of the children took a step forward, then another, and then they were all running toward her, crying and reaching out for comfort. Bin held them close, these strange blue children from a world she had never seen before. This was why humans fought, not for glory, not for power, for moments like this, for children who needed someone to save them. Above, the stars were quiet. The battle was over. but for they, a new story was just beginning. The days after the battle were filled with pain and hope in equal measure. Human ships remained in orbit around, forming a protective shield that no enemy would dare challenge. On the ground, the work of healing had begun. Medic had not slept in 3 days. She moved through the emergency hospital that the humans had built from nothing, tending to the wounded who filled every bed and every corner. The injuries were terrible: burns from energy weapons, broken bones from collapsed buildings, wounds that would have killed members of any other species. But they were tough in their own way and was determined to save every single one of them. Medic, a young nurse, said, "There is a patient in Section 7 who refuses treatment. He says he does not trust humans." Wiped sweat from her forehead. She had heard this before. Many still feared even after everything that had happened. Old beliefs died hard. "I will talk to him," she said. She walked through the hospital, passing row after row of beds. Survivors lay everywhere, their blue skin pale and their silver eyes filled with exhaustion. Human doctors and nurses worked beside healers, learning from each other, sharing knowledge and techniques. It was a strange partnership, but it was working. The patient in Section 7 was an elderly male. He sat on his bed with his arms crossed, refusing to let any human near him. His name, learned, was Elder. He was a respected leader in his community, or at least he had been before they destroyed his city. Elder said gently, "My name is, I am here to help you." "I do not need help from," said. His voice was weak but stubborn. "I know what your species is. I have read the histories. You are killers. You are destroyers. You are worse than the—" Did not argue. She simply pulled up a chair and sat down beside his bed. "You are right," she said. "We have done terrible things. In our past, we have fought wars that killed millions of our own kind. We have destroyed cities and burned forests and poisoned our world. We have been cruel and selfish and violent." Looked at her with surprise. He had expected her to deny it. "But that is not all we are," continued. "We are also the species that runs into burning buildings to save strangers. We are the ones who give blood to people we have never met. We are the ones who travel across the galaxy to help a planet full of people who fear us." She reached out and touched his hand. His skin was cool and smooth, so different from human skin. "I know you are scared of us. I know you do not trust us. But right now, you have a wound in your side that is infected, and if I do not treat it, you will die. I do not want you to die, Elder. I did not come all this way to watch people suffer." She smiled. "So please let me help you, not just as one person helping another." Stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly he uncrossed his arms. "You are strange creatures," he said quietly. "I do not understand you." "That is okay," said. "You do not need to understand us. You just need to let us help." While treated swooned, Admiral was dealing with a different kind of problem. A message had arrived from the Galactic Council, demanding an explanation for humanity's actions. She stood on the bridge of the Defiant Hope and read the words with cold eyes. "They want us to withdraw from the system," Jinho said. "They say we are provoking the Dominion. They say we are risking a galactic war." "A galactic war," repeated. 8 billion people were being slaughtered and they are worried about politics. "Admiral, what should we do?" Thought for a long moment. Then she turned to the communication officer. "Open a channel to the council. I will give them their explanation." The hologram connected to the council chamber, saw the faces of dozens of ambassadors representing species from across the galaxy. They looked worried and angry and scared. Ambassador Ho stood among them, his face calm. "Fleet Admiral," the council chairman said, "you have committed an act of war against the Dominion without authorization. You have endangered the peace of the entire galaxy. What do you have to say for yourself?" Stood straight and tall. "I have a lot to say, but first I want to show you something." She made a gesture, and the hologram changed. Now the council members could see the hospital on. They could see the wounded being treated by human doctors. They could see Commander Bin teaching a group of children how to play a simple game. They could see human soldiers distributing food and water to survivors who had nothing left. "This is what we are doing on," said. "We came here to save lives. We fought a battle to stop a genocide. And now we are healing the wounds that the created." She stepped forward. "The Council says we were wrong to act. The Council says we should have waited for permission. But permission would never have come, would it? You would have debated and discussed and argued while millions more died. That is what you always do. You hide behind your rules while innocent people suffer." Several ambassadors started to protest, but continued over them. "Humanity is not like you. We do not wait for permission to do what is right. When we see people in pain, we help them. When we see evil happening, we fight it. It is who we are. It is what makes us human. You call us. You think that means we are monsters, but you are wrong. It means we were forged in fire. It means we know what suffering is. It means we will never stand by while others suffer if we have the power to help." She pointed at the display showing the hospital. "Look at those people. They were dying and we saved them. They were scared and we gave them hope. That is what do. We fight the darkness. We protect the light. And we do it without asking for anything in return." The council chamber was silent. Many of the ambassadors looked ashamed. Some were crying. "If you want to punish us," said, "go ahead. Remove our council membership. Impose your sanctions. Do whatever makes you feel better, but we are not leaving until every survivor is safe. We are not abandoning these people, no matter what you say." She cut the connection before anyone could respond. Jinho stood beside her, his eyes wide. "Admiral, that was incredible." Shook her head. "It was just the truth. Sometimes the truth is enough." Down on the planet, the sun was setting over the ruined city. Had finished treating Elder and was standing outside the hospital, watching the sky turn orange and pink. It was beautiful, despite all the destruction. Walked up beside her. His wound was bandaged and he looked stronger than before. "Medic," he said, "I have been thinking about what you told me." "Yes." "You said that humans have done terrible things, but that is not all you are. I believe you now." He paused. "I have lived for 200 years. I have seen many species, but I have never seen anyone like you. You fight like demons, but you heal like angels. You are terrifying, but you are also kind. I do not know how both things can be true, but they are." Smiled. "That is the human paradox, Elder. We contain multitudes." Looked at the sunset. "Perhaps the galaxy has judged your species too quickly. Perhaps we need to see you with new eyes." "Perhaps," agreed. "Or perhaps you just need to let us show you who we really are." They stood together in silence, watching the day end. Behind them, the hospital hummed with activity. Human and worked side by side, saving lives, building connections that had never existed before. The battle was over, but a new kind of fight was just beginning. A fight to change how the galaxy saw humanity. A fight to prove that could be protectors. And humanity was ready to win. 1 month had passed since the battle of. There was still, but it was healing. Human engineers worked alongside builders to reconstruct the cities. Human farmers helped replant the forests that had burned. Human teachers set up schools for the children who had lost everything. And the galaxy watched in amazement. The Dominion had not returned. Commander had carried his story back to the Dominion's leaders, and they had decided that they were not worth another fight, not if it meant facing the again. For the first time in centuries, they were afraid. On the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Ho walked through hallways that felt different than before. Other ambassadors stopped to greet him. Species that had once avoided humans now sought them out, asking questions, trying to understand. The battle had changed everything. He entered the main council chamber for the most important meeting in recent history. Every ambassador was present. Every species was watching through broadcasts that reached across the galaxy. This was the day that would define humanity's future. Admiral was there, along with Captain Jinho, Commander Bin, and Medic. They stood in human dress uniforms, looking strong and proud. They were not just representing themselves. They were representing every human who had fought and bled and died for The council chairman rose to speak. He was a tall creature made of living crystal. His voice rang through the chamber like bells. We are gathered here to discuss the events at, 1 month ago, the faced destruction. The Dominion attacked without warning, killing millions. They sent a distress call to the galaxy, and the galaxy failed them. He paused. Every species in this chamber could have helped. We had the ships. We had the soldiers. We had the power to stop the slaughter, but we did nothing. We were afraid. We hid behind our rules and our treaties while innocent people died. But one species was not afraid. One species answered the call. He turned to look at the humans. Humanity came to with the largest fleet ever assembled. They fought a battle against overwhelming odds. They saved 8 billion lives. And then, instead of claiming victory and leaving, they stayed. They healed the wounded. They rebuilt the cities. They gave hope to a people who had lost everything. I have been a council chairman for 50 years. In that time, I have seen many things, but I have never seen anything like this. I have never seen a species risk everything to save strangers who feared them. I have never seen warriors become healers overnight. I have never seen such fury turn into such kindness. He walked forward to stand before Admiral. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I offer humanity our deepest gratitude. We misjudged your species. We called you and treated you with fear. But you have shown us that you are so much more than that. You are protectors. You are guardians. You are heroes. Nodded, we did what we had to do. Anyone would have done the same. No, the chairman said quietly. They would not. That is what makes you special. A door opened at the side of the chamber and an ambassador entered. She was followed by a group of survivors, including Elder. They walked slowly to the center of the room, their silver eyes shining with emotion. I asked to speak today, said, because I have something to say that cannot wait. She turned to face the humans. Before the battle, many of my people feared humanity. We believed the stories about. We thought you were monsters who would destroy anyone who got too close. Her voice trembled. We were wrong, so wrong. You came when no one else would. You fought when no one else would. You stayed when everyone else would have left. Tears rolled down her blue cheeks. My people are alive because of you. Our children have a future because of you. We can never repay what you have given us. Elder stepped forward. He looked at Medic with gratitude that needed no words. Before the battle, I hated humans, he said. I thought you were the greatest threat in the galaxy, but then I met someone who changed my mind. He gestured to. This woman sat with me when I was dying. She told me the truth about her species. She said that humans have done terrible things, but that is not all they are. She said they can also be kind and brave and good. I did not believe her at first. Now I do. He turned to address the entire chamber. I have lived for 200 years, and I have finally learned something important. The measure of a species is not found in their power or their violence. It is found in what they do when others are suffering. By that measure, humanity is the greatest species I have ever known. The chamber erupted in applause. Ambassadors from dozens of species rose to their feet, honoring the humans who had done what no one else dared to do. It was a sound that echoed across the galaxy through the broadcast feeds. Billions of beings heard it. Billions understood. When the applause finally faded, Admiral stepped forward to speak. I want to thank the Council for your words. They mean a lot to us. But I also want to say something about why we did what we did. She looked around the chamber at all the different faces, all the different species. Humanity has always been alone. We came from a world where everything wanted to kill us. We fought our way to the stars against odds that should have been impossible. And when we finally reached the galaxy, we found that most species wanted nothing to do with us. They were scared of us. They thought we were too dangerous, too violent, too different. For a long time, we wondered if they were right. Maybe we were monsters. Maybe we did not belong among peaceful civilizations. Maybe we should just stay on our corner of the galaxy and leave everyone else alone. But then we heard the distress call. We heard millions of people begging for help, and something inside us woke up, something old and powerful, something that said we cannot ignore suffering, we cannot look away from pain, we cannot pretend that the helpless are not our concern. She raised her voice. That is what makes us human, not our strength or our weapons or our fury, our compassion, our need to help those who cannot help themselves, our refusal to let the darkness win without a fight. The galaxy called us because we come from a planet of death, but we turned that death into life. We took our pain and our struggle and we transformed them into something beautiful. We became protectors of the weak, defenders of the innocent, guardians of hope. She pointed upward toward the stars beyond the chamber ceiling. Let this be a message to everyone watching. If you are in trouble, call for help. If you are suffering, cry out. If you are dying and alone and scared, send a signal into the void, because humanity is listening, and we will answer. They do not fight for power. We do not conquer for glory. We fight because there are children who need to be saved. We fight because there is darkness that must be pushed back. We fight because the universe is cruel and someone has to stand against that cruelty. We are human, and we answer when the helpless call. She stepped back. The chamber was completely silent. Every ambassador, every delegate, every being watching across the galaxy understood what she was saying. The rules had changed. The galaxy had a new protector. Later that night, there was a celebration on, human and danced together under the light of 3 moons. Children laughed and played. Old enemies became new friends. It was a night of healing and joy and hope. Commander Bin found herself sitting beside a group of children she had rescued on the day of the battle. They had been so scared then. Now they were smiling and asking her questions about Earth. "Is it true that you have creatures called dogs that live with you?" one of them asked. "Yes," Bin said. "They are our companions, they love us and we love them." "Is it true that your planet has mountains taller than our entire cities?" "Yes, and forests older than some species in the galaxy." "Is it true," the smallest child asked shyly, "that humans will always come when someone calls for help?" Bin looked at the child with gentle eyes. "Yes, that is true. It is the most human thing about us." The child smiled and hugged her. Bin held on tight, feeling the warmth of that small life against her chest. Above them, human ships still orbited the planet, standing guard against any threat. They would stay until they were strong again. They would protect this world for as long as they were needed. Because that was what humans did. That was who they were. The galaxy had called them, but now they had a new name. Guardians. And they would never stop answering the call.